Imagine you are holding a handful of dry sand. If you keep your hand open and flat, the sand stays right where it is. It's resting there, and you can see every grain and appreciate the texture and the way the light hits it. But the moment you feel a breeze or get scared that you might lose it, you instinctively pull your fingers in. You squeeze your fist as tight as you can to make sure not one single grain escapes. But as you squeeze, the sand begins to leak out through the gaps between your fingers. The harder you grip, the faster it disappears, until you are left with an empty hand and a sore palm. This is exactly what happens when we try to navigate life without the art of detachment. There is a fear many people have when they hear the word detachment. They imagine distance. They imagine indifference. They imagine becoming cold and unfeeling and unreachable, like a statue in a park that watches the world go by without ever being moved by it. But detachment was never meant to make you less human. It was meant to help you suffer less. The ancient Stoics never taught people to stop caring. They taught them how to care without losing themselves. They taught them how to love without fear owning them, and how to engage fully with life without gripping it so tightly that every change becomes a wound. Think about a man named Elias. Elias has spent his whole life building what he calls a perfect world. He has a job that pays well, and a house with a porch, and a daughter who is just starting to walk. On the surface, Elias is the picture of success. But if you look closer, you can see the toll it takes. When he is at work, he is constantly checking his home security cameras. When he is at home, he is answering emails because he is terrified that one mistake will make his career vanish. When he plays with his daughter, he isn't really there because he is already mourning the day she will grow up and leave him. His love has become a form of surveillance. His success has become a cage. He is squeezing the sand so hard that his hand is starting to bleed. Detachment is not about turning away from the things you love. It's about loosening the grip. Because most of our pain does not come from caring. It comes from clinging. It comes from the desperate need for things to stay exactly the same. We believe that our peace depends on outcomes we do not control, and so we live in a state of constant low-level panic. Epictetus captured this gently when he wrote that we should not seek for things to happen the way we want them to, but rather wish that what happens happens the way it happens. This is not resignation, it's emotional freedom. When Elias finally hits a breaking point, it isn't because of a tragedy, it's because of a Tuesday afternoon. His daughter drops a glass of juice on a rug he spent 2 months picking out. In that moment, Elias feels a surge of genuine rage, not because of the juice, but because his sense of order has been violated. He realizes that he has become a slave to a piece of fabric. He is letting a rug dictate his relationship with his child. This is the moment he begins to understand that clinging turns love into anxiety and effort into desperation. It turns connection into a constant fear of loss. Modern life rarely teaches us this balance. We are encouraged from a young age to attach our entire identity to our relationships and our achievements and our roles. We are told that if we don't worry, it means we don't care. But Stoic detachment asks a different question. Can you care deeply without making your peace conditional? This is where strength quietly lives. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every single morning that everything he loved was on loan. He would tell himself that he would meet busybodies and ungrateful people and deceitful people. He didn't say this to be bitter. He said it as a way of preparation. It was a way to meet life without surprise or resentment. Detachment begins with seeing reality clearly. You have to acknowledge that nothing you love is permanent. Nothing you possess is guaranteed. Nothing you rely on is fully within your control. This truth can make you fearful or it can make you grateful. Clinging demands certainty in a world that offers none. Detachment accepts impermanence as the only law of the universe. When you cling, you are always guarding. You are like a soldier on a wall, waiting for an attack that is guaranteed to come eventually. But when you detach, you are finally available to actually live. Consider how often anxiety in your own relationships comes not from a lack of love, but from a fear of loss. It is the constant need for reassurance. It is the urge to control where the other person goes or who they talk to. It is the quiet panic when things feel even slightly uncertain. Detachment does not say, "I do not care about you." It says, "I care about you so much that I want you to be free. and I trust life enough to know that I will be okay regardless of what happens. Seneca wrote that he who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man. The same is true of our emotional lives. He who fears loss cannot love freely. Caring without clinging means showing up fully while knowing you will survive change. It means offering your best work and your best heart without demanding permanence in return. This is not emotional distance. It is emotional maturity. Detachment allows you to respond to life instead of just reacting to it. When you are not gripping outcomes, you can remain calm when things do not go your way. You can listen to a partner instead of defending your ego. You can adjust your plans instead of collapsing when a storm blows them away. Clinging narrows your vision until all you can see is the thing you are afraid to lose. Detachment widens it. You begin to see people as they actually are, instead of seeing them as anchors for your own security. You appreciate moments without trying to freeze them in time. You act from your values instead of acting from your fear. This is why detachment is strength, disguised as softness. You still feel joy, but it is lighter because it isn't weighed down by the need for it to last forever. You still feel sorrow, but it does not destroy you, because you knew from the start that the thing you lost was never truly yours to keep. There's a quiet confidence that emerges when you stop tying your worth to external validation. When you stop needing others to behave a certain way just so you can feel okay. When your peace becomes portable, you can take it into a boardroom or a hospital room or a crowded street, and it stays with you. This does not make you less connected to the world. It makes your connections healthier. You stop asking if this will last forever, and you start asking if you are showing up with integrity right now. The Stoics believed that virtue was the only true possession. How you live and how you treat others and how you handle your own mind are the only things that cannot be taken from you. Everything else is temporary and therefore should be held gently. This gentle holding is the essence of detachment. You do not grip the moment. You let it pass through you like a breath. This changes how you experience loss. Loss still hurts because we are human, but it no longer shatters your sense of self. You grieve without resentment. You release without bitterness. You honor what was without demanding that it continue. Caring without clinging is how you stay open in a world that is constantly shifting under your feet. It allows you to be warm without being dependent. It allows you to be strong without being rigid. It allows you to be present without being possessive. Detachment is not a wall that keeps the world out. It is a boundary that protects your inner core. It is a boundary that says, I will engage fully and I will love deeply, but I will not abandon myself to what I cannot control. In a world that constantly confuses attachment with love, detachment is a radical act of self-respect. And the quiet irony is this: when you stop clinging, people actually feel safer around you. They don't feel the pressure of your expectations or the weight of your neediness. When you stop trying to control everything, your connections actually deepen because they are based on freedom instead of fear. When you release the fear of loss, love becomes freer than it has ever been. Detachment does not make your life smaller. It makes it lighter, and in that lightness, you discover a calm that does not depend on how tightly you hold on, but on how wisely you let go.